I gave my parents a luxurious one-week trip to Europe with me. When I picked them up to go to the airport, they told me they decided to go with my jobless sister instead of me. My mother smiled. Your sister needed some rest, so we decided to take her. I didn't say anything. They had a big surprise when they landed in Europe. So I, 28F, saved for months and finally booked something I'd always dreamed of, a luxurious one-week trip to Europe with my parents. Flights, hotels, tours, everything prepaid and planned down to the last detail. I wanted to give them a once-in-a-lifetime experience since they've always talked about someday going abroad but never had the chance. When I pulled up to their house to take them to the airport, I was practically buzzing with excitement. But then I saw my sister, 25F, suitcase in hand, standing next to them. For context, my sister doesn't work, doesn't contribute much at home, and constantly plays the poor me card. My mom smiled at me like this was the most normal thing in the world and said, "Sweetheart, your sister needed some rest, so we decided to take her instead." I just stood there frozen. I'd been planning this trip for a year for them, and suddenly I was being replaced in my own gift. My dad avoided my eyes, my mom looked smug, and my sister just shrugged like it was no big deal. I didn't argue. I didn't fight. I just quietly handed them their tickets and said nothing. They left for the airport with her. But what they didn't know was, the tickets, reservations, and hotel bookings were all under my name. So when they landed in Europe, the big surprise was waiting for them. I stayed home, went to work, and waited. Honestly, I felt hurt, but mostly numb. It was supposed to be my dream trip with them, and they threw me aside like nothing. Fast forward a day later, they land in Europe. I knew the exact timeline because I'd planned it. Around the time they were supposed to check into their 5-star hotel in Paris, I started getting frantic calls. First it was my mom, then my dad, then a string of angry texts from my sister. Apparently, when they tried to check in, the receptionist asked for me. My name, my ID, my card on file. Without me present, there was no room, no tours, no nothing. My parents tried to argue, saying the reservation should still be valid. But nope. The hotel explained the booking was non-transferable, and only the person listed, me, could claim it. So there they were, standing in the lobby of a luxury hotel, luggage in hand, realizing they didn't have a room. My mom texted me, "Why would you book everything in your name? We're stranded now. Fix this immediately." I replied with one message. "I booked this trip for me and you too. Not you and sister's name. Enjoy your rest." The silence after that was golden. Meanwhile, my sister blew up my phone with messages about how selfish I was, how I humiliated them, and how I wasted all this money. But the truth is, I didn't waste it. Because I knew exactly what I was doing. The next morning, I woke up to a wall of texts. My parents were panicking. Apparently, after being turned away at the hotel, they had to drag their suitcases across the city and check into a budget place near the train station. My sister hated it. The room is tiny, no view, and the bathroom smells, and she made sure I knew. They also discovered that all the tours, museum passes, river cruise, day trip to Versailles, were in my name too. Non-refundable. Non-transferable. Without me there to show ID, they couldn't use a single thing. My dad finally called me. He sounded defeated and asked if I could fix it from home. I told him, calm as ever, "Dad, I already told you. This trip was meant for me and you too. I can't magically change the bookings because you decided to swap me out last minute." Cue my mom jumping on speaker, furious, telling me I was immature and punishing them. I reminded her of her exact words, "Your sister needed some rest, so we decided to take her." I said, "Well, looks like she's getting a lot of rest in that budget hotel." Click. She hung up. From then on, my parents went mostly silent, but my sister kept messaging. She tried guilt-tripping me with, "You wasted thousands just to prove a point. You ruined the trip for mom and dad. You're so jealous of me, it's pathetic." Meanwhile, I was at home, sipping wine, enjoying the peace, and kind of relieved I hadn't wasted a week babysitting them abroad. But then things escalated, because my parents' trip didn't just end with them being inconvenienced. Something happened that made them really regret cutting me out. A few days later, I get another call, this time from my dad. He sounded exhausted. Turns out their dream trip had turned into a nightmare. Without the prepaid tours, They had to stand in endless lines, pay last-minute inflated prices, and still missed out on half the attractions. My sister complained the entire time, refused to walk much, and guilt them into paying for shopping instead of sightseeing. My mom admitted they blew through way more money than they expected on taxis, meals, and replacement tickets. By the 5th day, they were broke, stressed, and just wanted to go home. Here's the kicker. At the airport on the way back, my sister caused a scene over overweight luggage. My parents had to pay hundreds in fees for all the stuff she'd bought. They were humiliated in front of everyone, and by the time they landed back home, they weren't speaking to her either. When I picked them up, yes, they still asked me for a ride. The car ride was dead silent. My mom finally muttered, "We should have just gone with you." I didn't say anything. I just drove. Since then, things have been awkward. They've tried to sweep it under the rug, but I know they regret the decision. My sister, on the other hand, insists the whole thing was my fault for not transferring everything properly. But honestly, I don't regret a thing. I worked hard, I saved, I planned, and they chose to push me aside. All I did was let them live with the consequences. And from what I hear, whenever Europe comes up now, my parents go completely quiet. Love stories like this? Then make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment below, and subscribe so you never miss what's coming next.